How are you?
I have a question for you. I know that when we raise puppies, we do a certain program. We do a lot of sensory work with them. We do a lot of noises. And I was just wondering, I actually have two questions. I was wondering, how did that all begin? Like, why did you start doing that? And then my next question would be, when the clients pick up their puppies, how would they continue doing all of that in order to keep the puppy on the right path?
Okay. So it started years ago. I belonged to a writing club, and we had a very high knowledgeable artist, Luis Aguilar, who was from Mexico. He came into Puerto Rico to do a movie.
Okay.
And he came with all of his horses. And this is back in the 70s, you know. So I was just a kid. And they chose me to be the person to help the trainer, the main trainer that they have, because you know how those Mexican horses, they dance, they do so many things,
Yeah.
super high trained. And they asked me to, you know, to help. And it was an opportunity for me to learn other things because Mexican trainers are incredible. So I started working with him and I saw the natural way that he would do it. And I asked him, I said, well, it comes basically from the natives in, you know, and it's an old tradition, what this is what it worked. And it was like a type of sensory work they did with the horses where they got an incredible connection and communication with the horses. And those horses were gentle, as you can imagine, and would really give in. And they taught me all of this. They call it sensory work, sensory development, basically. So for years, I used it and I said, this could be working very good for dogs, you know? And I am going to more or less change things and start doing it with dogs. Later in the years, I started working with the mounted police. You know, I worked 21 years
Right.
with the mounted police. So I used those techniques, you know, and they became very famous with Monty Robert and John Lyons, all of those, but it was years later. And I started using those techniques with the horses on the mounted police as well because it was needed. They're working out in the beaches, they're working on the streets, they're working. So they have to have that sensory work, definitely. And the funny thing is that at that time I was breeding, you know, so I would bring the litter, a playpen with a litter of puppies that they were 8 or 9 weeks already with their vaccines and everything. I would bring them and place them next to the where I was having the training. So they would start hearing the gunshots. They would start seeing the umbrellas. They would see everything that we did, you know, with the horses. And they were there all the time. I would take them almost every day to work when we had the sensory training, you know, because we have different phases of training and in the police and in the tactical training. When I was giving the tactical training, the sensory work was done, you know, for 3 or 4 days with the horses, basically to see how they were doing, if they were scared, if not, what we have to work with each one and everything. So the puppies were there. And then also the big advantage was that when we finished working, all of the guys, you know, all of the official riders would go over and play with the puppies. And it was incredible, you know, and I said, wow, this is really, I can see the difference on the puppies, you know, when they get that involvement in the environmentals and the sensory work that we do, because genetically, you know that we have it. I breed on certain bloodlines that I already know that bring that to the table. You know, it has to be. I don't breed anything that's spooky, that's nervous, that has any kind of problems or aggressive or whatever. I could have a little bit higher drive, a little bit lower drive, but these puppies that come to our breeding program have genetically very stable temperaments and come with genes that are very stable.
Right.
But that's not enough. You have to expose them to all of these certain obstacles. Let's put it that way.
Correct.
We call them obstacles. So that's when you have learned of what to do when they're the 2 weeks and then the 3 weeks, and you keep on doing that, and the manipulation and everything and the noises. And when they are older enough to come out and beyond exposure. You do challenges for them to strengthen their temperament.
Right.
Because, I mean, stress is good if you use it correctly. And because it strengthens them. It's like kids, you know,
Yeah.
you have to put things hard for them so that they get stronger. And for us, it's very important that the puppies go through all of that, you know, and we put them in situations where they could be a little bit afraid, but they overcome it, you know,
Right.
because they build such a self-confidence in them in all of these obstacles that we do, that they know they can do anything when they're older. Now, the second question that you asked me, which is what sometimes worries me, it's about what do owners do.
Right. When they leave our property and go to their new home.
Exactly.
Yes.
That's something that for me, it's very important to explain to them that they have to keep on doing this. You know, they cannot lock a puppy in a house or in their yard and don't do anything else. You need to keep on working that because they take them at 8 weeks. And then there is the time that they keep on developing, and they need to keep the exposure, to go out, to get social, you know, exposure. I don't like dog parks, but I like a puppy to see other dogs around.
Right.
You know, dog parks are difficult for me to really handle because maybe I can handle very well my dog, but we don't know what the other people are gonna are gonna do. But you know, the puppy has to meet certain and different environmental situations. You know, people in the park, people in a supermarket, going through a lot of traffic, everything that could be like create a little bit of a challenge. It's good that they confront it and they can do it and they feel that they can do it because that gives them more self-confidence. And owners need to follow our protocol as the puppy keeps growing. You know, you cannot stop it because their brains are wiring, you know, it's full of wired things that you need to connect them basically. Right. And to that brain needs to work for every phase in their lives until they're old. And if you do things correctly, you know, when you take them home and continue the same type, not maybe the same because not everybody has all the equipment that we have to.
Right.
But keep it up, you know, take them out, get them into situations that they know they're going to win, you know, because I would never put a puppy in a situation that it's going to be going against him, you know.
They're going to fail.
They're going to fail. No, I don't put them in a winning situation all the time, but that he has to be a little bit, you know, strong to go and do it. So that's the situation when people pick up puppies here. I try to explain that, you know, and this video basically is also a guide to connect and to explain our clients and our dog and puppies owners to keep them, to support them, to let them know, to motivate them to keep on. That's going to make a big difference.
Right.
If done right.
Yeah,
you know?
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's the way that everything started, and there was a little explanation. You know, my first language is Spanish, so I try my best. But I'm always interested into having our owners be very well prepared. I don't hold back anything as far as education.
Right.
This is part of our Puppy Power videos, and it's important for me, for us, that our owners are happy with their puppies.
Right.
And you know the feedback.
Yes, and our clients, and that's one nice thing about Southernwind Kennels, is that our clients can call us anytime. They can text us, and we will help them every step of the way. I don't care if your dog's 8 years old at this point. You call us if you have an issue or a question, and we will help guide you, and we're always here for you.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, and see you next time.
Bye.